Xfinity, and ESEA.
And we have finally arrived at the last two maps of the evening. A little bit of Ghost and Splyce action here from the Intel Esports Arena, of course, in Copenhagen, Denmark, on the Xfinity Analyst Desk. Don't want to forget that one, guys. This is another segment of Game Flip's pre-show. You want to be a boss? Go to Game Flip. Now, let's move forward, shall we? Guys, is this matchup going to be a burner or not?
Something's going to burn. It remains to be seen what. But yeah, no, this is a bit of a slugfest between the two of the lower-ranked teams in the league, at least from our perspective. Splyce obviously haven't gotten off to a better start than Ghost have, but I don't necessarily think that means all that much. Ghost obviously haven't played as many games. But yeah, this is going to be like a vital matchup just for the sake of survivability, right, when you come towards the end of the season.
It is basically a relegation match, and whoever wins this one comes out on top, will stand in a better position than the other team. Not avoiding relegation or not avoiding to care about it, but still, like it's one of those games where you look towards traditional sports, and the top games are always the fun ones to watch, but so are the relegation games. These are two teams that are going to fight for their lives to survive this Pro League season. So we're going to see which one of them is going to stand on top after the next 2 hours.
And the interesting part is it's not an immediate sort of, hey, we're going to be able to tell who benefit from this more. It's more so later in the season because both of these teams are near the same caliber. It's very important for them to pick up wins over one another at this point. So given the lineups we have in front of us, guys, do we have a clear favorite? Are we even close to a clear favorite, or is it just about par?
I'd say there is a clear favorite. Like Splyce are to be considered the favorites. They have the players, they have the names, and they have showed us a little bit of potential. I think this is their 4th game now in Pro League, and it hasn't been pretty, but it hasn't been too bad either. I think it has been what we expected from Splyce. They're fighting again just to stay in Pro League. It is like a placeholder team where a lot of players are currently, maybe redefining their careers or maybe ending their careers. We're not really sure with that. Let's be honest.
Limbo.
It's a limbo. Like there's a lot of different potential on the teams, So I think Splyce are the favorites for sure. Ghost are the new guys on the block. And I'm having a hard time seeing how they're going to beat Splyce 2-0. It could potentially be a 1-1, but I see Splyce as the clear favorites in this one.
Yeah, to me, Splyce are the kind of similar to Rogue in a sense, where they've had, except that they've had the same kind of lows, but not as high of highs.
Yeah.
And that still is better than what we've seen out of Ghost, and that's kind of an issue. Ghost obviously haven't played too many games, but what they have showcased so far has literally just been one player showing up, and that's Wardell. And outside of that, it hasn't really been anything at all.
How about this? Why don't we showcase the youngest player in the ESL Pro League? We were able to have a few quick words with him.
In the professional CSGO scene, new talents emerge from the depths of matchmaking every day. In the NA region, 3 young talents especially have made a name for themselves. Exotic from Team Splyce. The former CLG Academy player joined Splyce at the start of the year. Mastering both the rifle and the AWP, he truly is worth keeping an eye on. Grim from Team Dignitas. The young American has already made a name for himself, as his reactions and skills with the rifles make him a dangerous opponent. Twists from Team Liquid. The young player isn't just a talent, he's already a superstar at the age of 18. His aim is phenomenal, and despite being so young, he's already got a lot of experience. His natural talent for the game not only makes him one of the most promising NA players, but one of the most promising young players in the entire world.
And I think a very interesting note there would be that a considerable amount of these younger guys have come from the Mountain Dew League. They have come up from the bottom through the process, the due process, not to be confused with the legal process, of course. But at least from Dignitas' perspective, just from where we see them this season so far, is that a testament to how the Mountain Dew League works?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, they're showing glimpses of potentials, but there's definitely a big gap between the level in Pro League and the next big league. It's like you see in traditional sports. You have the Premier League, and then you have the First Division or the League One in English football. And there's a big level difference in it. But there's still potential, and there's still a few players, who comes down from these amateur leagues and just go in on some of the top teams in the Premier League and in the Pro League in that sense, if we talk Counter-Strike. So lots of potential down there, and it's all about giving them a scene to showcase that.
Right. And, well, I think as while you're on the note of potential, so to say, Ghost and Splyce on Mirage has some serious potential.
To what?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I have to kind of ask myself as well. Yeah. But, yeah, maybe that's a better question for you guys.
I mean, it has the potential to be an interesting game in the sense that we have no idea what Ghost is going to showcase, really. They haven't done much at all so far this season. We don't know that Splyce have played Mirage, and they haven't been terrible. So, you know, that's something to fall back on.
That's something.
Yeah, you know, you're kind of grasping at straws if you want to try to bring out too much, really, with teams who have limited amount of basically play time at an actual, you know, proper platform like the Pro League or something like that. And for these teams, you know, this is all they have, and with Ghost only having played a couple of games, then there's not too much really to put into stone in terms of what you can actually say about them, outside of the fact that they have one talent who's been obviously attracted to other teams in Wardell, and that's obviously has some checkered pasts in terms of how he's handled hopping around from teams and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. Like for me, the biggest thing is going to be see how Splyce deals with this, because this should be a 2-0 for them. This is one of those matches that they have to win 2-0, I think, if they're going to feel somewhat safe from relegation. And for Ghost, it's all about just putting up as good of a performance as you can.
Let's just backtrack a little bit to that checkered pass, because I would really like to know exactly how you feel about this checkered pass. I mean, or can you describe it at least for the viewer at home?
I mean, obviously he was initially going to, I think it was before the season start of last season of Pro League, where he decided to join Rogue, or I'm not sure if they were called Rogue at the time, but Hiko's team in any case. Right. And then about a day or two before Pro League actually starts, kind of chickens out, goes back to his old team in Ghost.
Just kidding, guys.
Yeah, exactly. You know, bamboozled everyone and kind of left the other team out to dry, which is obviously not something you want to do. It doesn't exactly build up a strong, I guess, it doesn't build credibility with you, obviously, and you can't go around doing stuff like that.
See
if
where it left him. Like, if he
he's
would
back in
prefer
Ghost
to be in Rogue right now.
Yeah, and I mean, and not just that, but obviously when you do that kind of a move, other teams, even if you're playing really well, how much can they actually trust you in that kind of scenario? Can they actually rely on you to be a player who's going to put in the work and actually do what it requires to be a professional player and playing in, you know, international tournaments and
Having
so on?
a great reputation is pretty much everything within Counter-Strike these days. Like you have to stand out as a professional player. You have to stand out with a great attitude, and you can't be a little kid anymore. You could back in my days and back when you played.
Definitely.
No consequence of breaking a contract. There wasn't even contracts back then, so you could do whatever you want to. It's not like that anymore. So Wardell is getting a taste of reality.
Ooh, that was the verbiage that I was looking for. Okay, so thank you for clearing that up, guys. Because believe it or not, there are viewers that might not have any idea about any of these timelines, and it makes sense. If you're just getting into Counter-Strike, you might not know all the ins and outs, the nitty-gritty stuff. But if you pay attention to the inner workings of the scene, or if you're privy to knowledge as we are, it can certainly make for some pretty cool storylines on the outside.
I like how you said we.
Yeah, we as in y'all. No, actually, I'd prefer not to privy any knowledge. Just a lot of extra pressure for no reason. Sort of like going into Mirage, and I don't want to say who's going to come out the lesser loser.
Hey, but joining on the reverse roles here.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to thinking about that late season, right? I mean, so that could be the case. That simply could be the case.
No, it definitely can be, and I mean, I think it's more so for Splyce. It's kind of a weird scenario where obviously Splyce wants a 2-0 so they can kind of solidify themselves. Ghost doesn't necessarily need a 2-0. They just need a map. They need to get started. So that's kind of where you have to go from if you're Ghost at this point, and you kind of have to show that you have some sort of relevancy in the league, and you're not just going to be like a slaughter victim to every team that you go up against. So I'm having a hard time seeing how well Ghost can do over the course of this season, but you know, remains to be seen.
And this is where I want to see, you know, Ghost come in blazing hot. You know, this is the week they should have been practiced the most. This is the week they should have spent the most time on the deathmatch servers. Like, they know a game against Splyce, that's going to be vital. The game against Dignitas, that's going to be vital. They need to 2-0 those if they want to have any chance of avoid relegation for this season. So I want to see them come in better than they were in the first week. We saw them. I think they lost 16-3 or 16-4 when they played Mirage, and the only player who showed up, as we talked about, was Wardell. So I want to see the Zabrosa. Like, we saw him in CLG back in the days. He was decent. He had a sort of like a reputation too, if you want to dig into that. It's not a storyline to that, but he was a decent player, and he has played for CLG, and he has some experience. So I want to see that shine off to the other teammates, and I want to see Ghost coming out and at least like putting more than four rounds on the board. It was very lackluster the first week we saw from him. It was sort of like you saw that, judging by only one game, but you'd say like they're out of the league already.
Out of the league already. Adios, sayonara, see you later. Which is exactly what we're about to do. We're going to go ahead and kick it over to a quick pro tip there on Mirage, since we're in the festive spirit, of course.
Hey Future Pros! Today we have a nice and simple smoke for mid-window. This smoke is very handy if you get stuck behind the mid boxes against an AWPer. This smoke should anger the AWPer immensely, so watch out for him rage peeking from connector. For this smoke you will need to be behind the mid boxes. Crouch down in this corner and aim at the corner of this box. Then just let the smoke soar for around 3 minutes and you should have a perfect mid-window smoke. Good luck!
And yes, Mirage map where smokes, just like every other map, are a very crucial component to this game. And especially when you have that one teammate that can't hit a window smoke to save their entire lives.
You hate
Who
him.
comes to mind, guys? Go ahead and oust them, Ray.
Pretty much everyone I play with.
Yeah, it happens.
Henry G, I'm looking at you. Like,
He's sleeping right now.
oh, he is, but you know, you can watch it back.
Watch it back. Well, guys, that might be what we do here in just a second. Now, perhaps we need to set up a little bit of a narrative here, a little bit of a storyline. Perhaps it is that time where, you know, you guys tell them at home, the viewer, that's you, exactly what it is we're about to look at before we look at it.
You want to give it a go?
I mean,
The unbiased side of things, just exactly what it is.
I can take that, and then we
okay.
can let Halvor do his job after.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna watch a very infamous moment in Counter-Strike history. I'd say probably one of the defining moments in Counter-Strike history. We're back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. The DreamHack Winter Major. Was it 13?
no, it's either 14.
It was
or
14.
14.
Yeah.
14. There we go. I was right in the first place, so stop that.
Didn't say a thing.
So 2014 Major Counter-Strike. We have a game against LDLC Fnatic. We're on the third map, Overpass. Everything is at stake. It's a quarterfinal, and still early days for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but one of the first and one of the biggest majors we've had thus far. And stuff goes down.
Yeah, let's take a look at what exactly goes down, because this is, albeit a little interesting here. We're going to press play. All right. Oh, I'm going to pause it on accident. And
Then you're going to bring it actually onto the
I'm
screen.
trying,
So
dude. I don't really know how to operate machinery.
You're doing a good job, man.
I mean,
There we go.
I might not go as far as saying good job, but yeah,
Okay,
regardless.
So kind of walk us through what we're looking at right here. We do see a boost here on an
Yes.
old version of Overpass.
So obviously this is the infamous Fnatic boost that happened, and
Olaf
obviously, yeah, Olaf Pass, and this is why he's known as Boostmeister as well. And this is pretty much the boost that took them back from what was it, 12-3 deficit in the first half to basically eventually winning the game.
Yeah.
As a whole. And obviously there was a ton of controversy about you know, how it all went down, and Fnatic eventually being disqualified from the tournament, and how it all kind of unfolded, to put it that way.
So here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because you know we have one of those green rooms, right? We can go ahead and bring it back to our beautiful shining faces here. I think that works pretty well. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put 1 minute on the clock for each of you to make an argument. Ready?
No, we have to pick sides. Whether it's right, wrong,
Whether it was
preface
right,
this
whether
now.
it was cheating, go ahead and define your place.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it was not cheating. Again, it's very thin lines between, or like in the rule set, there was a rule about pixel walking. Pixel walking is something that every team did on both Inferno and Dust 2. Also happened in Overpass, which allowed for that boost to happen. That was initially the claim that people talked about when they wanted Fnatic banned for using the boost. Eventually, they got banned for using it for being able to see through textures, which is only possible when you double scope into the gray walls of CT spawn.
Yeah, let's just say that one more time, to see through textures.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
No,
a
just
completely
wanted to make sure everybody
irrelevant
heard that.
spot in the map where no
Okay.
one ever looks.
Okay.
To preface that. And obviously there was a ton of controversy as to why they were banned, if they should have been banned, and so on. In my opinion, no, they shouldn't have been banned. I don't think they should have been taken out of the tournament. This was something that was actually known about. Like, the boost was known. It was used on well, different platforms, etc., where you play for quite some time before the major. It was even made it to the subreddit where the infamous the please delete this response from the Fnatic managers came in. But yeah, no, I think this wasn't necessarily a bannable offense, even though obviously it is a game-breaking boost in the sense of how much knowledge you get. But again, LDLC had a almost extremely similar boost that they utilized themselves from pretty much the exact same spot. And the fact that people try to defend LDLC for not being able to figure that out in 15 plus rounds is absolutely ridiculous to me.
Okay. So
Because
you're standing by. No. Just we gotta tie it in at some point. You're standing behind the fact that they were in the right. They didn't necessarily do wrong. Now, Mr. Vinicky, what is your selection here in this debacle? I mean, obviously you were around back then as well. You got to see this sort of firsthand. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but was this? What's your take on it? Let's just get that.
I was there. I went out in the group stages. Thanks for reminding me.
good spot in the spectator,
Yeah.
amongst the audience.
Sorry, man.
It happened, I was at a major, so it's okay. I don't need a minute to tell you that it was an idiotic thing to do, and I definitely do agree, and I definitely do think that them withdrawing from the tournament was the right call.
Withdrawing? No, they
were
got
withdrawing from the
disqualified.
tournament. No, they were withdrawing from the tournament. They said themselves they were supposed to be played out from 12 to 3 again. That's the admin's decision, but they withdrew from the tournament because they didn't want to play it again.
I guess, well, I get that point. You don't have anything to gain from it if you're Fnatic.
Exactly. So technically, they weren't thrown out by the admins. Technically, they withdrew themselves, and I think that was the right call. I think Fnatic, whatever that was the players or the leaders in Fnatic who made that call, I think that was a mature thing to do. This is one of the things where it just left my mind that we can even discuss this, because there's things where you can argue that it is either like wrong or right, or
like,
there's maybe a
black and
line,
white,
but
it's
black
that
and white.
easy, yeah.
But this is just like completely ridiculous. Obviously, this is not allowed to be a thing. Even though the game allows it, it's still stupid. There's stuff in the real world that allows you to do stupid stuff. You can still do it, but you shouldn't be doing it. And that's how it is in this case.
So for you, it's an ethics question.
And not a technical question. We can take take a look at the sort of boost here real quick. You'll see. I mean, perhaps we'll see.
Well, that's the thing. Like, doesn't matter the technical aspect of it. I don't give a damn about that, to be completely honest with you. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about it. There could be some technical aspects to it, like pixel walking, all that kind of stuff. But it's ethics, It's like, this is not, you're not supposed to be able to do this, so don't do it. Like, it's one of those things where if you do it with a risk, and the risk in this case was to get the entire CS world to hate you, and they took the consequences for that.
Well, that certainly happened in the moment.
So
Well,
now spin it around and then consider the fact that LDLC pretty much used an identical boost, obviously just not as well thought through on their side of the CT side. So should LDLC also have withdrawn?
What?
LDLC used a similar boost from the same point to get worse vision.
Go on.
To get
You're on a
worse
good
vision.
path.
Yeah, to get worse vision. So in your eyes, they should have never done that either, and therefore recused themselves from the competition.
I think they should have never done that either, And
so therefore they should have withdrawn.
well, if that's the call they wanted to make, then yeah. I think Fnatic did a mature thing.
Did you think Fnatic wanted to do that going into the second half?
Obviously they didn't want to do that, but they wanted to withdraw from the tournament. I think that was a mature call for them. If LDLC felt that they'd done something they shouldn't have done, then they should withdraw from the tournament. I don't know what moral complexes these teams are working with. Whatever LDLC have a less moral complex than Fnatic, but I think they did a mature thing and left out of the tournament. It was a more exploiting boost they did. What LDLC did was not too like, it was still not legal. It was still not, I wouldn't call it legal. It was still not smart to do, but it was less exploiting than what Fnatic do. That's why I think there's a bigger case to be made for Fnatic withdrawing themselves than LDLC. This is a situation where you look at two bad things and you just got to pick which one is worst. And Fnatic did the worst thing.
So let's take a pause here and invite the viewer at home to use hashtag ESL Pro League. Get involved in this conversation. You know why? Because we might even read it live on stream. I can't guarantee that at all. There it is. It's certainly one of those moments in CS history where it left some people looking like villains.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There were people that were shadowed by this pretty much for the entirety of their career, even to today.
Yeah.
Talk about the players who even, like, I remember, I think it was Flusher who talked about or tweeted, obviously emotional, like he would never play Counter-Strike again. Like, this was it. His career is done by now. He didn't want to play anymore after that. And I think, we have to respect the decision for Fnatic and respect the players in that situation. This was a major. It was a quarterfinal. And despite them doing something where they definitely exploited the game, which I cannot stand by, especially as a player, I think it's very unfair and I think it's very unethical. It's still a big loss for them to withdraw from the tournament and have to face the fact that they lost, in a quarterfinal. In which fashion they did was not pretty. They were losing 12-3 in the first half, despite LDLC maybe or maybe not using an exploit boost, right?
Not maybe or maybe not. Definitely using
using a boost, but not to as big a degree as what Fnatic did. So I think that was a fair loss in the 12-3 one. Whereas Fnatic weren't able to pull it through without that exploit. I don't think they would have. So. Point being is, you have to respect that Fnatic were actually taking the mature decision and actually withdrawing from the tournament, and that hurt the players a lot. And they were still able to fight back. You see JW today, you see Flusher today. They just won IM Katowice. They're still around, and in such a young age to be able to take such a big deficit, despite doing something that I would say is ethical wrong, is just strong character, I guess.
And plus, in the sort of infancy of Counter-Strike, so to say. But I mean, we can kind of wrap it up there. I don't know what you guys are feeling at home, but I feel like Pimp spoke with such conviction when he looked at me right in my eyes that I just couldn't think of it to be anything other than right. And just like that, we are having a stand-in. He's getting a nice back pat over there, just sort of reassurance that we're
still a family. We're still a family.
That we're still La Familia. But yes, there is a stand-in for this matchup. I do believe Stanley is going to have to step back. I don't know the exact reasoning, but Mainline will be stepping in there for Ghost. So that changes things a little bit. I don't know exactly how much, but obviously I think that doesn't affect the fact that we think Splyce is going to have the upper hand here.
I think it just increases it. Again, well, we don't know what's been going on with Ghost in the week they've been gone, but maybe they've planned this all along. Maybe Mainline's been practicing with them. Could be the case, but obviously you go away from your core lineup that you went into Pro League with, and that's not necessarily a good sign of having changes into your, like, it is week 3, but this is their second play week, so that's never a good sign.
A little bit too early.
So we're going to have the opportunity to bring in some shining faces here.
One shining face.
And,
Shiny head.
for all intents and purposes, they just had a little bit of off time. They might be more refreshed on this idea. See what I did there? Might check it out. We just had a conversation, I'm sure you might have heard out there, about the all-off pass situation, the boost.
We don't have the audio back here because I don't particularly enjoy listening to you guys, but I figured I would just. I was wondering why you guys were talking about it in the first place. Like, how did that come up to be a thing?
I can't even remember.
Well, we got into I don't even know. It's like someone just showed up in the green room and it sparked a conversation, and then next thing you know, we're all in.
Emotions flying high, tensions rising.
There were some yellers back there, and I'm not going to point any fingers, but
it's Halver, isn't it?
Not going to point any fingers at all. Right
Jason
there.
takes no time pointing fingers.
yeah, nope, doesn't bother me.
But what's your take on it? I mean, I feel like this is one of the more iconic moments within CS history.
I did a whole documentary on it.
I know. I was going to let you pump that a little bit.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Pump that documentary from a year ago. What's the specific question we got going on here? What's the debate on?
No. Well, what's your stance on it?
Is it like cheating, or is it like okay?
Yeah, they were saying it's straight up cheating, which I
don't
disagree
think
with.
I wouldn't have considered it cheating. It was
game breaking.
It was certainly something that obviously had to be addressed after the fact. But I think fair play. They found a trick and they used it, and obviously I don't think they weren't using like the pixel bugs or anything like that. And if you're going to ban them, you got to go back and ban everyone else, don't you?
Exactly. There you have it. A reasonable man on the other side of the desk.
There's a reason he's over there, not over here.
There's a reason I'm sitting in the middle.
You thought it was cheating as well?
Yeah, no, he was.
I will tell you, when I initially watched that match, I was sitting in my computer being like, these absolute scumbags.
Everyone had that.
I was so angry watching it, but like time passed.
My initial reaction was like, that's so dirty, and then some profanity.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but it's also genius.
To me, it's more like a question of like the ethical stuff of it. Like it's just like I don't care about the technical stuff about using a pixel boost or like maybe throwing at an edge where you can't really stand or see the edge or something like that. That happens in the game, and especially in a game that's as new as Counter-Strike were back then. So we can keep discussing that from now on until we die. But the fact they were doing something that they knew were game exploiting, and they knew they were game changing and game breaking, I think it's just unethical, and I think that's not okay in a world.
But at what point is that sort of how would I say this? It's a trick up your sleeve versus, oh, well, and in some roundabout way, I mean, do you really take your strategy and do you take it and show it and start asking around? Because
there's a reason they were telling. I remember there was a story where they told one of the Reddit guys who put it up to put down the post simply because they didn't want to give it up because they were afraid of other teams taking it and maybe getting it banned before the tournament. So they knew already it was on edge before they went into the tournament.
It wasn't to get it banned before the tournament.
It was to keep it
so no one else would know the trick.
Yeah.
Without
that's the story, right?
And people knew about it as well. Like we were playing Pugs, and we would run into people using it, we would use it ourselves, and it would take about 1 or 2 rounds before the opposing team figured out what the hell was going on.
So you're saying the French guys were not as clever as you?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that's like evident by how they spend their money in 90% of their games. So like,
when I was interviewing the Fnatic guys, who did I interview? I did JW, I did Flusha, and I did Pronax, and they all said the same thing, and they were all just like. we had no idea that it would work for 15 rounds. They were like, we thought it would get discovered in like 2 rounds, and that's why we never thought it was like a big deal. We thought, you know, we'd be able to use it to like, you know, sneak off like an important round win at like a crucial moment in the game, or to like keep us alive. But we thought they would. We didn't think that for 13 rounds in a row we'd be able to just hop up there and just kill people for free. So I don't know. It's one of those weird scenarios. I don't think you can necessarily. You can never like prove intent, right? So it's like there's no point going down that road. But I never thought it was cheating. I just thought it was entirely overpowered, and I thought they should have got away with it at the moment that it was used, and it should have been fixed after the fact.
Well, I think even in the sentiment we had backstage it was such an example of the community kind of coming behind something and just ravishing via social media.
That is the hard part as well, because the community back then was largely driven by Reddit.
So check it out, boys. I've just gotten word. We're going to be jumping into a little bit of Counter-Strike. We got a little bit of Rogue. Excuse me, we got a little Splyce. We got a little Ghost. We had some Rogue. We're done with that. Guys, real quick prediction. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm going to side with Splyce for this one.
Yeah, I'm going to say Wardell getting a lot of kills, but Splyce is winning.
Yeah,
accurate. Okay. Well, that seems a pretty fair assessment of what might actually happen. And to give us the events that are going to transpire will be Harold and Jason. How did you enjoy that conversation, Harold?
I loved it. You know, I just sort of stood on the edge, peering over into the conversation, much like Olaf did on that iconic boost.
You're going too far with these guys.
Bringing it full circle.
Yes, I'm glad the analysts decided to stop talking so that we could actually watch some Counter-Strike. It's perfect.
It's always fun.
Nice.
It is annoying when they drag those segments out and delay the whole match.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. Either way, yeah, gonna be going live here on Mirage. It is Splyce taking on Ghost, and here we go. This is I don't recall where exactly these two teams were on the standing board, to be honest with you.
Ghost, I think, are right at the bottom.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Splyce, I believe, were coming in about 10th.
That makes sense as well. So, 2 teams at the bottom of the barrel try to scrape some wins up, and as I believe Pimp would normally say, these are the kind of wins that you need to get if you're one of these teams, because you're obviously not looking at the Cloud9s and the Team Liquids and saying, that's where we're going to pick up some points. You're looking at the Ghosts, you're looking at the Splyces, and saying, these are the beatable opponents. Going to be a tough round for Ghost right off the bat. Davey is here. There's 2 players on Catwalk as well, though. Davey can get pushed upon. He spots one. That's a great headshot. Got to stand and fight. Gets a second. Going for more, but he's done his job. Wardell with the trade kill. 2 players actually inside the bomb site. And headshots all around for Splyce.
And that is what you want to see. It's all gravy for Davey. That's the iconic saying, I think. Splyce winning out the pistol round.
Another one coined by you, I noticed.
Yeah, another one. You know, just really going ham with them tonight. But good start here for Splyce. I think I'm going to have to side with the analysts. I think Splyce should be taking this one. Ghost haven't really shown me anything I'm that impressed with thus far. I'll be honest. You know, they kind of sent some Trevors through the scene when they appeared, but since then they've been struggling. And you know, now playing with a stand-in as well. The UK representation not here. Instead, we have mainline. That's going to probably accentuate any problems that might be appearing, but they're going to start a fast play in towards A. Roka already going to go ahead and take a couple to the dome. He goes down. Exotic trying to trade back. Has managed to find one in through the smoke. It's Semphis to peek on over the ticket booth and from his watchtower pick up 2 more. The bomb plant will come through. He's not able to deny it. And that'll be the round going the way of Splyce eventually, but a bomb plant for Ghost and heavy damage done. They can't be too disappointed with that.
That was really scrappy. A very scrappy round with all the smokes and the confusion. Guns spraying wildly through it as well. And yeah, Splyce does get the round, but with the plant and with 3 kills, I think you got to feel like Ghost has some level of victory there. Some Deagle's going to be bought up in the 3rd round as well. A little bit of utility, so they're going to go for more economic damage, try and keep this close. Try and keep Splyce at the breaking point. But the rifles should be able to chew up any attack that comes in. Exotic going to be in connector. Not aware of that play. Sabrosa comes right through it. We've seen that a number of times from different pros. Seen Tarek do it. Seen Stewie do it, obviously. And figured people would have started catching on by now. But Exotic lures Sabrosa into an awkward situation. Wins that easily. Bomb is going to be in mid. 2 players waiting outside of A. And Roka looks like he wants to hunt this one down. Deagle shows himself on the A ramp. And Exotic still holding connector.
About to get peeked by VSA, but he's able to quickly and efficiently cut him down, leaving it all onto Seb. Deeg in hand, 1v5. Okay, gonna get rid of Roka. That's interesting. Gonna now start to fall back from ramp, but Davey, the real problem. Ooh, actually, Seb, big ears on him. He has heard the man. Up in apartments. Bomb still down over in mid, so not really expecting him to win the round. He might be able to make things that much more costly. And that's Davey dealt with, but luckily enough, Sempis is there to trade. The Deeg from Seb will finally be shut down. Splyce going to go 3-0, but now the buy comes in at 4 Ghost.
Those are some nasty shots with the Deagle. That one on Davey was particularly nice. But here's the test. AWP on Wardell. No op on Splyce. They've got 4 M4s. They've had to rebuy a couple of them as well through these last 2 rounds. So, job well done from Ghost. Roka still with the UMP. That's going to be at the A bomb site. Sempis is going to want to stick around. This is going to be a large hit outside of Palace. And splitting up A ramp with just 1. And Roka misses the timing. He's got a nade in his hands, and there goes Sempis. And as quick as you like, the round's over.
Yeah, they do find main line over in mid, but that's it for them. Locked out the site, 4 players still up for Ghost, and the save called in for Splyce. It's not going to creep forward. Does run the risk of going down, and so he's going to start to fall back. This is the sort of iconic, like, yeah, I'm hanging around, but I am saving. You know, maybe looking to see if we could have found any sort of way back into that. But yeah, now with Davey and Drone locking down ramp. And Palace, they're going to be watching for the retreat from Ghost. They're going to try and make this round costly at least.
Actually, here's a big win. If they could find Wardell, I mean, he's not going to push forward, and I don't think they'll chase after him, which is unfortunate. But the AWP is all on its own. So, small mistake there from Ghost that doesn't end up being punished. But that could have been a great find right at the end of the round for Splyce. Either way, 3 rifles saved. They will reinvest into this one. Anything they possibly can. We'll see what guns get dropped over. But certainly you got to look at that and say, you know, regardless of what weapon Roka had, he had the UMP, you can't just get caught like that, not prepared for any kind of a play. Sempis was taken down for free. Roka has a flashbang out without even shooting a shot, or firing a shot. Splyce had lost 2 players, which is just unacceptable. There's a great frag from Exotic, and now he's got a lot of information. A 5-on-4, the A hit is going to come in once again. Smoke dropped. Let's try and get that planted, and Roka trying to peer over the smokes is going to get tagged up. Ghost fighting from behind the Molotov, and Sub Rosa just having an angle towards jungle from Palace. But all of Splyce is now here, and the bomb hasn't started being planted. Exotic has a chance to stop it. Gets blinded up. There's Davey. Now Ghost's going to try and make something happen. They have no nades left.
Mainline's got aggressive down towards connector, but yeah, it's the lack of nades that's going to really test them here. 3 players down in CT. Mainline gets peaked, and he is going to fall. Now the Incendiaries start to flush Ghost out of the open, and the firing squad there to answer back. It's a massive 3K for Exotic that locks in that 4th round for Splyce. You know, for Ghost coming into this, you kind of you feel perhaps a little bit bad for them. I think this is this is a series that they could win in theory, and they kind of need every win they can get, right? Being one of the weaker teams, I think, in Pro League, and currently yet to pick up a map, if I believe. And you know, then having all that happen and then losing Stallion and having Mainline have to step in, that's of course the coach of this team. So that is less than ideal. But they've gone for the partial buy here. 3 AKs up. Decent bit of utility to work with, although not enough to really throw any sort of fakes on out. They kind of need to hold on to everything that they can.
Well, here's a good start. Sub Rosa feeling bold, even down 4-1 and even running at a muddy. Trying to peek into this B bomb. So we're starting to see more and more players be willing to take this fight. Pop flash, Sub Rosa blind. That allows the peek from Davey. Molotov going to come out as well. Keeps Sub Rosa forward, pinned against the wall. Down to 38 HP as well. I think there was some spam as a follow-up in there as well. Tense situation here. It comes towards the A-bomb site, though. Subrosa's still lurking at Roka on top of the balcony. Spam through the smoke. They haven't found him yet. And the defense holding strong. Exotic does go down. The bomb is there, and Wardell is trapped in Palace. So no progress made by Ghost Gaming. With only 1 kill, no real entrance into the site is found. Great round from Roka.
Yeah, Paul's going to be called on in. And it's a technical timeout. I think I wasn't sure. It looked like it was mainline who dropped from the server. And that, of course, means that he's gone. And Stanley, he's back.
Yeah, I think it's just a quick swap to get the proper players back in, as he was subbing in for some technical issues. So, perhaps that'll help alleviate some of the woes we saw out of this T side.
Yeah, they can only hope. Now they do have their full roster back on the field. Stanley, the guy from the UK, making his big debut in this roster, will be returning. It's always good to get some UK representation, because we very rarely get any. But right now, Stanley's already been painted up with damage. He's going to get found by Davey. Once again, goes on a tear over here into apartments. This is just Davey's house. They better stay away from it as he locks it down. 3 kills for him. Rotations come through because the bomb's been dropped. And we're just Glocks left. You're not expecting much here.
No, not at all. This is about what we'd expect. No kills and 4 deaths. Seb's going to get found as well right at the end. Splyce having a very good CT side. 6-1.
Yeah, and I think one thing it's worth noting is, you know, me being the resident Splyce expert, Jason, I should have realized this.
Yep.
But if you remember, I outlined their usual default on Mirage and how they told me a while ago they were going to try and change it.
Have they changed anything?
They have. They have changed it, you'll be glad to know.
Okay.
Davey looks to be the point man over in apartments now, as we saw in those last few rounds. Now, as I point out, it's changed back to what it usually is. But this time they've gone for aggression over in towards the top of mid. And I like this. Roka's gone there early on. That's going to get them so much information. That's allowed Davey to start to rotate back toward B. It actually used to be Semphis who played over on short, but it seems like Drone and Davey swapped that up now. And this push going to be coming on in. The flash is there for Drone, and that allows him to find 2, make that 3, and almost a 4th, but VSA not going to go down in the blaze of glory there from Drone. Roka's already in the back line. And things should be coming to a very swift end now for VSA, as he finds himself stuck in the apartments of Splyce.
Yeah, some of these rounds are looking very easy for Splyce. 4 players above 10,000. This is great. Pop flash from a teammate. Drone is able to destroy them all. I think maybe they switched. You know, don't be too hard on yourself with this kind of defensive setup. Maybe they switched because last round was some aggression, right? So you normally go do some spawn-based stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even then, though, they've changed the guy that's on short. It used to be Semphis.
Cool.
He is now over towards A. And actually, Davey used to be the man who played ramp, but since it looks like they've instead swapped it out for Roka holding close. An Exotic over in window, and this, you know, they kind of look already to be a bit more comfortable. Like, the synergy on B definitely feels like it's there more than when we had Semphis and Drone.
When we've seen Splyce earlier in the season, I know they've gotten the op in Exotic's hands quite frequently, as much as possible, even when they're down by a good amount. Content to keep him with an M4 here. He has enough money to buy one, so he could very easily drop the M4 over to a teammate who dies and pick an op up himself. But maybe they're in the if it ain't fixed. Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. Regardless, 5 rifle setup has got them in a good place. Seb is about to encounter some Splyce players, and he gets his face taken off like Nick Cage. Ooh, that's a good shot from Subrosa.
Yeah, Ghosts are going to start to depart from mid, although Davey's gone aggressive over here into apartments, and This is a shot of him to do some real damage. Sabrosa going to find him, though. And that's it. 2 on 4. This B bomb site is foregone. Drone starts to rotate in. He's kind of going for the peak there. Already out into the site, and Drone now aware of this. He's going to go down. It all falls onto Roka. And he would have to be one splicey man to make this play happen. Be a 1v4 ace, Jason. And that just doesn't sound doable.
No, and he doesn't even think so. He's just going to wait and see if anyone exits in this fashion, take some guns away. I don't even think that will happen, though. So it will be a second round for Ghost Gaming, and Splyce has got to be careful. They have to talk things over and just say they kind of gave up that round. A lot of overextensions, a lot of peaks that didn't need to happen, a lot of fights that didn't need to be taken. And I think if you're Splyce, just keep playing a more disciplined game than your opponents. Especially at this stage in the season where you're still hurting for some points. So, 7-2. Plenty of money on the defensive side of things. And I would imagine we're going to get an AWP picked up by Exotic now, certainly. 3/4 or 2/3 of the way through the half. There we are. There's Daddy.
Yeah, this is also quite interesting.
Double up.
Usually, right, it feels like they're just keeping the second AWP over towards B, which does, you know, make sense, because usually within this squad it is Semphis. He's the man to pick that up. But they've gone for Davey instead, and they've done this boost on the bench of the previous round. It just gives you some vision over in towards apartments, so they will be replicating that once more. Meanwhile, Ghost, they've got 3 players out into mid early on. No one from Splyce here to contend this. Exotic instead waiting down in toward CT, while Semphis watches from jungle, the potential boost up into window. Smoke falls, and that's going to allow Stanley some aggression in towards connector, and he's cleared a lot of ground here. They know they have a pretty firm foothold going on over in middle. Now Seb's come out over towards ramp. Roka's going to go blow for blow with him, and neither player finding success just yet, but finally Roka does it. Now the remaining 4 players for Ghost there, up short, they're executing into B. Davey and Drone have their work cut out for them.
Yes, they do, and Drone at least is making some work. That's one of the AWPs down, couldn't have any impact. Drone blind, but he's deep enough into market, it'd be too dangerous to chase after him. The bomb is going to get planted. It's a 4-on-3. Splyce need to create a second avenue for this retake. They have 3 players coming through market. They're going to have Semphis going catwalk. Look at Stanley's position. This is a round and a half for him to do some good work. That's an awkward smoke. I don't know where that came from. I think that was actually a smoke thrown by Splyce, and it's going to cause a disaster. Great kills from Roka. That's 3 for him on the round. 1 more to find, and he gets it. The transfer over, and that's just, that's the Roka you know and love.
Yes, it is. He is. He's looking good right now. 8-2 up for Splyce. I'm glad we get the replay of this. That first shot, lovely. Second one, but it's the third that was the real icing on the cake. The quick spray around of Sabrosa, and that is a very Roka play to make. Double up back in play. Davey's going to be picking that up once again for Splyce. And Ghost Gaming, they've invested everything they've got into this round. Wardell with the AWP, taking it over into Palace early on. Watching to see if any early aggression comes through, and then you imagine going to try and take the peek out to jungle. But no, he's going to start to fall back. Rejoins up with Seb in T-spawn, and now it looks like they're going to start to creep over here towards middle. Seb lining up. Flash for them to go out, and I think Wardell, yep, throws the smoke on him, but there's a gap in it, and that is a very big gap. Exotic will take that all day long.
I think Splyce is going to take this all day long. These plays from Ghost are kind of really being telegraphed. There goes Sabrosa trying to do some work in this B platform, but great damage onto Stanley. And Ghost Gaming going to fall all the way back towards A. With Exotic with the AWP on catwalk just peering towards mid, they pretty much have control of the situation. He's got to be a little bit more worried about underpass. No one's coming there quite yet, but it's definitely a possibility. That's why you see him start to back off on the minimap. Meanwhile, here comes the A-hit. Wardell with the AWP. All the analysts said Splyce would win, but Wardell would get a lot of kills, and he's going to need a couple here. That's a good find. Entry onto Roka. Sliding out into the open, it's just Semphis. He's going to get smoked out. How much of a play does he want to make? And it's a big one. Oh, and he's going to get away with it. He's somehow gotten here without being spotted. Player from Palace didn't want to peek, and Exotic takes the head off Stanley. And Semphis now has put himself in such a solid position. He stops the plant. That should be the round. 14 seconds left. Ghost has so much to do. Splyce is going to take another one. Wardell so far away from the bomb, they don't even need to peek him. He can't get the bomb planted in time. He's got to go on the hunt, and he's lost track. And just jumping around is Exotic. Eventually goes down. That's awkward towards the end. Did Exotic just like take his hands off the mouse and keyboard?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were waiting because there was 1 second left on the timer, right? So I think they were waiting to see maybe if, like, you know, just hoping he could dodge the bullets from the Glock and then just kill him the second the timer swaps down. But
that's kind of BM, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't have
like,
the faith in Wardell
I
to actually
don't care
hit the
if
shot.
you kill me.
But amazingly, Wardell's able to save the AWP there against all odds. He was quite fortunate in the fact that Drone was tagged down to 3 HP and that Exotic went AFK in a combat situation.
Yeah, must be nice to get some free kills. Well, here comes more utility. Roka, he's going to be cut out in the open again. This is going to be a tough spot. He's got to be very worried about Palace. He wants to put a Molotov up there, but he's got to do it quick. Molotov out towards top ramp. Stanley clearing into the bomb site, gets the kill. Roka just stationary. And Stanley's going to have the M4, and he's going to follow up with another one. Great aggression into the bomb site, a third as well, as Semphis comes right through into Sandwich. Davies here, he's got to get this kill, but Stanley is incredible in this round. Continues to move forward. Stand the man with the quad kill. And Davies just got to slink away quietly. Them CZs, bro.
Yeah, what can I say? Stanley has done my home country proud. 4K there to lock Ghost Gaming in their third round. And you know, sometimes you need a bit of love from the UK to round off your team, whether that's playing or coaching. Because another team that's seen a lot of success lately has been NRG. They recently, of course, brought in Imi to be their coach. They've looked better as well. I'm going to attribute all of that success to him. Because why not? We don't get many victories in the UK. And
they beat him online, which does seem to be the only place UK CS can operate.
Ooh. Savage there. Bird
Sometimes not even that. It's all right. Still better than Norwegian.
Yeah. No, well, I'm going to agree, but I don't actually agree.
Okay.
So, yeah. Just as a middle finger to Halvor. Here is...
Bit rude.
Well, you know. He's been nothing but nice to me.
I know, he's been a pure gentleman.
And this will teach him to have faith in other
what
human beings. Oh, okay, that was an exchange and a half. Sabrosa, tagged originally by Exotic there through the tiniest of angles, and then actually lands the shot back. That's that B bomb site made to look that much more tempting, but there has already been rotations coming through. Drone and Davey. The double Ds of Splyce. Oh, going to be inside of the B bomb site. Maybe not the iconic nickname I'd hoped it would be. But here we go. Sabrosa was the man with the entry. Going to keep creeping on through. Drone takes the peek, and that flash is perfect. It allows him to get the equalizer. Sabrosa's already out, though. Davey's going to be able to find that frag, and the pressure's on. 40 seconds. Stanley going to get blow for blow with Semphis down here in middle, and that's the rotation to come through, but a nice quick flick from Roka. Keeps things competitive. VSA and Wardell left alive. 2 versus 3, and up connector they go into the maws of Roka, but they silence him. Davey desperately trying to deny this bomb plant. Can't find anything. It all falls onto Drone.
He's going to get slaughtered coming through. Ooh, maybe not. Wardell doesn't have the angle, so a chance here for Drone. Just has to win one fight, and he's too slow around the corner. Nice round from Wardell. 2 big kills right at the end. First on Davey out in the open on Catwalk, and then the follow-up in the last one. And I say big because his teammate had 4 HP, so if he had gone down there, it would have been all over, but I think Ghost has finally done it. It took him 13 rounds, but they have finally shattered the economy of Splyce. So a chance here for Ghost right at the end of this half. It's not in the first game of the evening. Right at the end of the half, get up towards 6. We'll see if they can pull it off. It's 5 CZs for Splyce. They have utility. Clearing out a ramp at the moment. I don't know, Ghost, it feels like they should have some information based on this position. You can hear footsteps from there. And there goes Drone. Attacking T-Spawn, and Seb definitely has the advantage in this fight.
Yeah, in the meantime, Ghost, they're out into this B-bomb site, but it looks like he's found himself a stray Stanley. Skulking around the site, and he will go down. Bomb plot still yet to come through, and Exotic just keeping the pressure on. They know that there's a man slipped in. Sabrosa has spotted him. Exotic going to go with a peek, and actually just going to get finished off in the nick of time, but missed shots over on short. Roka was given an opportunity there.
Well, good on Davey to at least clean it up. 3-on-3. I don't think they'll go for it, but I guess it could depend if Semphis can find a kill here on the flank. Although Seb is now watching it. It looks more like Semphis is just setting up to take guns away on the retreat. So it'll be a 5th for Ghost. An AK would be nice. Some investment in this round from Splyce, but they won't have a whole lot of money to work with, and it's going to be Semphis on 3 if they continue running forward. Spam through the boards. They're aware of the possibility. And no one goes down. Now pushing forward. The CZ is 1 bullet remaining, and he gets nothing. You get nothing. You lose. 9-5.
This buy from Ghost is good. They managed to get rifles across the board. Splyce as well in the same sort of boat. Wardell is up in a palace, and he's been a fan of this position. So creeping on in. Now to go ahead and drop Exotic. They keep forcing their way forward, and Sabrosa, he's dealt with Roka. Semphis in the jungle. Meanwhile, Davey and Drone rotating in from B. Going to be able to find Seb in CT, so this is not all over just yet. They are fighting back. It's a wrap around in mid from Stanley that could cause some problems. Wardell going to go ahead and just annihilate Semphis, leaving this onto Davey and Drone. Both players peeking into this. VSA lines up the first. Davey trades back, but Wardell smites the last player down for Splyce. That's Ghost Gaming finishing this off with 6 rounds.
That is a really nice recovery, and you want to talk about impact. Having Stanley come in right at the end, when all seemed lost, took him a little bit to get warmed up. Came in about halfway through, but he did have that brilliant round with the force by the CZ into the A bomb site, getting 4 kills in total, 1 with the AWP, 3 with the CZ75. So quite nice from him to come in and give his team a little bit of kick in the butt to make that comeback happen, because that was looking like it could have been a disaster. So what, 9-2, I believe, at one point. So 4 straight towards the end there for Ghost. We're going to be going live into that second half. All the analysts picked Splyce. The resident expert picked Splyce. And Ghost giving them a run for their money here.
Yeah, Ghosts have definitely improved in these last few rounds. They found a couple of cracks starting to show in the Splyce defense. That's netted them a 6-9 scoreline, which is always a nice one to have. It doesn't put so much importance on the pistol round. But Splyce now a chance to kind of exercise the aggression.
Do you wanna change your tune? Do you wanna go for Ghost? Do you still think Splyce can pull this off?
I still think Splyce can pull this off. I have faith.
Cool.
You know, I like to be a man of my word.
I just wanted to see if I was giving you the opportunity. Wouldn't have broken your word if you had changed. Big risk here for Ghost. 4 players towards that B bomb site. Unfortunately, in the scale of risk reward from 1 to 10, it is going to be no reward, if that makes any sense. It's a level 10 risk and level 0 reward. Stack on these CT spawn stairs. There's no flashbang for Ghost as well. If they turn this corner, they just have to straight up fight this. USPs can be deadly here, but so can those Glocks. Here it comes. The whole round is on this, and it's a slaughter. All kills going the way of Splyce. A brilliant hold on those stairs, the critical map control to have, and Drone's going to end it. 4 kills for him.
I mean, you know, it's always on Mirage we see these 5-on-5 retakes, and I know every time we see it, Jason, you just kind of wither away and die that much more internally. How did that one make you feel? That was probably the worst one we've seen yet.
I just don't care anymore. I continue to do them, whatever. If you haven't learned your lesson, they're just so hard to pull off. Like, the crazy thing about them is, like, you always remember the super easy win if the team heads towards your stacked bomb site, but you need to be able to have contingencies, right? You need some kind of presence to get one of those kills before the hit comes in, and it's just not an easy thing to do consistently on your pistol rounds.
There you go, they didn't heed Moses' warning.
It's one of those things. It's like a gimmick kind of strategy to stack forward being 1-A, right? And
it feels like it should be like a last ditch.
Yeah, not even a last ditch, but like it's a cool thing to pull out once in a while, right? That's the point of a gimmick, is to kind of catch people off guard. But if your gimmick is, we see too many teams trying to play with that specific gimmick that it's just kind of like, all right, well. Footstep made by Roka, but 3 players in connector. There's a crossfire set up by Ghost. But Sumpus could ruin everyone's day.
Okay, frags do come in, but trades leave things all equal. Now they peek out from VSA over on short, going to go ahead and net them one more. Oh, Semphis, though, he's doing exactly as you said. He's ruining days left and right. Now it's Stanley, and, well, he is going to ruin Semphis's night. 1v1. He slips back up into connector. Davey does peek it, and Davey's going to win that out. Takes the fight there and then. And locks in that round. For Splyce, just by the skin of their teeth, though, comes very, very close.
My one issue with that round, I realize I'm being a little bit negative right now, is if Splyce had just waited for Semphis to wrap around through jungle and window room, they would have never lost those players in connector. Like, you have Semphis there. You have plenty of time on the clock. Just wait the extra 3 seconds for him to turn that corner, and he'll get you at least 1 kill. And that takes all the danger. You maybe survive that round with 3 or 4 players instead of the 1 that it took. Mid-pressure coming out, and perhaps just an opportunity for the AWPer of Splyce to build some money. 2 kills with the MAC-10, and that's it. But let's pass along the information. That's going to be a round win, and Davy's still on the hunt.
Yeah, why not? Oh, it's actually going to go down at the USP of VSA. Now you imagine just waiting for Roka to rotate in and maybe try and mop up these 2 remaining players over in mid. It's Broza down in lower tunnels. Has this crossfire, hoping that maybe he can bait, VSA can bait a player out and he can catch him unaware with the MAC-10 and make a little bit of extra money. That would always be nice. Roka hops down and his wish does come true, but VSA going to steal it away from him. Means they don't get the extra money farmed up by the MAC-10. 12-6 now, but the buy comes in for Ghost Gaming. And it's a pretty decent buy at that. They, however, don't have a defuse kit. And pretty limited on 3 of these players in terms of utility, although they have got 4 smokes. As they start to expend those early on, you kind of realize the lack of head armor here does make this Roka's playground.
Well, we'll see. He's just in a great position to kill 1 or 2 people to really kneecap any kind of a retake. He's going to go down. That pretty much forces Splyce into this hit, and they're coming through a smoke. 2 kills for Stanley. Visa is here, wanted market as well. They're not even going to clear this out. The op scope is showing. Free kill. And Exotic now going to get into the action, but misses the initial shot, and there's no chance of anything from here. So on a big 4th round, Ghost Gaming survives with 4. And they get a free double op setup, so well done. Well played from Ghost. Look at the money out of Splyce as well. 3 players below 2,000. That's crushing. Ghost does a lot of damage.
Yeah, they have, and now they've got the double AWP as well. One of those going to be on Wardell, as you'd expect, and the other on Manly Stanley, as he makes his way over there towards B. It was a pretty nice play from him in the previous round that was key to their success. Already Semphis has fallen down in mid, and Wardell, he's come back for another gander. Drone gets boosted up here, and Wardell. Okay, he's been tagged and finished off by Drone, but now Sabrosa arrives to try and trade. There are players just meandering up through connector, but Sabrosa reads it well. And the oncoming Splyce forces he will quell, as now he forces them out into his arms as well. He'll fall. Zark and Davey don't stand a chance versus Seb, and that is going to be an 8th round on the board for Ghost Gaming.
Oh, this sucks for Splyce. Just once again, like I'm just on the verge of being able to buy and just can't do it. 2 players who can afford whatever, and 3 who are just stuck in economy hell. So once again, the pistols come out. Any damage they can do here would be great. This is a great opportunity for it as well. It's a mid-crunch for Ghost. They have presence on Catwalk, they have presence in Connector and top mid now. They are just rotating back into position as the smokes come over the wall. They should be stuck behind the smokes with the flashbangs. So a good chance for a plant, and how many kills can they get behind it? Wardell's going to open up onto Semphis. Doesn't want to give away his life, though, and there's the bomb planted. So mission number 1 accomplished. Mission number 2 is 2 to 3 kills, and at the moment, they're not going to get any of that. Davey, the only one left. Good frag, and can't get anything else. So not a bad round from Splyce, all things considered.
Yeah, but now it's a 9th for Ghost Gaming. They are slowly but surely closing this gap. Splyce now have money to buy. They will relish in that opportunity because they haven't had too many. That double upset going to be put away for Ghost with just Wardell sporting it now. And Exotic's got his AWP out over on the T side. He's going to be taking that early on over here towards middle. He didn't have a very good spawn for it, so maybe we might see I was going to say a cheeky run boost thrown in, but no, the smoke goes down, although there's a slight gap in there. The flash does allow them safe passage for the time being. But Wardell still lurking around mid, almost hits that shot through the smoke. Window gets smoked off, and that's Wardell to go ahead and vacate this area of the map. But in the meantime, look at this. VSA and Stanley both going aggressive early on. They've got control over an apartments, and that's a lot of information for free.
Sabrosa playing a risky game. But he's gotten in position behind the Molotov. Semphis may be able to clear him out. At the moment, though, they're just content with this positioning, this control from Semphis. He can be patient, bide his time. Same with Roka. Splyce actually has a very good setup here. That mid control got them a player in Connector and in ladder room. So 2 different points to pounce and lurk, 2 different points to cut off rotations, 2 different points to surprise your opponents. And Ghost has no idea what's going on. Meanwhile, the main hit is going to come over towards the safe bomb, so there are no smokes, though. They're just going to have to swing out and fight. Wardell is here. Seb hasn't spotted anyone yet, and he's going to spot Drone now, and the gunfire gives it away. Davey and Palace, though, he's got to be careful, and there goes Semphis. He pounces too soon, mistimes it, and Stanley finds him. He started to have a very solid game. He does fall as I say that, but Wardell is going to take down Drone. That's the bomb, and there's no utility. There's no time as well. They've got to get it planted, and it's just... Oh, I think he might have just gotten the time. What a battle from Roka, and he does somehow at the last second. Exotic with a chance in a 1-on-3, but he misses the shot. It dwindles even farther, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the perfect scenario for Wardell in CT with the... you know, the entire site open, no smokes down, no anything to flush him out. There was one Molotov that went in, and that was it. So it was just like shooting a fish in a barrel for him. He'll take that all day long. And with that, Ghost Gaming move on to a 10th. Splyce, they are starting to let this one slip through their fingers right at the very end. They still have a 2-round lead, but it's fast eluding them. Roka's going to go ahead and try his luck down here towards lower tunnel. Slips on through. Wardell flushed out of window early on this time around. They're going to start to creep on out, and there are players over on short. You imagine they're going to try boosting Stanley on up, and that's exactly what they do. Spots Semphis, but Semphis is prepared for that play, and that's the man advantage taken for Splyce. The first time in a long time we've seen them kickstart a round with said advantage.
Again, mid-control, though, and again, they're going to get Roka in towards Connector. A whole ton of other bodies as well, ready to attack this bomb site. It's going to be Davey in Palace and the other 4 busting up to this A bomb site. Utility out towards jungle, smoke, flashbang, and here they come. No one on catwalk to shoot him in the back. Exotic's going to jump over with the bomb, and there goes Sub Rosa, trying to line him up for a double, but just can't do it. Bomb is on the ground, and the rotation is coming in. And Drone just going to cross his fingers and pray no one's on catwalk, and no one is. So with 3 on 4, there are 3 kits, plenty of utility for Ghost. They can at least stick around and see if these Molotovs can force anyone out into the open and equal it out before they make the final push. And here it comes. Pop flash into the air. Roka finds one, and there's Drone to add on. Wardell just trying to survive as he retreats. Has that AWP, a valuable weapon, full set of utility as well. A lot of money that he could save. Fortunately, Semphis read this a mile away, and he's already going to be in market. So Wardell just has to slink away to CT spawn. And I think he should be safe.
Yeah, Semphis might... No, I'm going to discover him at the end. So Splyce onto a 13th. Thanks to saving the AWP, a buy here is more than possible. Along with that full belt utility, we can actually see 2 rifles dropped over by Wardell. That's exactly what he's going to have to do. But on the back of that, a buy comes in for Ghost. And it's a pretty strong one at that. Stanley's limited in terms of his utility, but everyone else is more than enough to make up for that fact. And once again, it's rifles across the board for Splyce. Already, Wardell has boosted himself up over onto short. And he's sat up there very early on. There's a gap in that smoke as well, which is going to make crossing a nightmare for Splyce.
Well, Stanley's answered the bell a couple times in this game. Might have to do it again here. Just gotta be careful. Tracer's giving away his position. Almost gets taken out by Drone. Again, Ghost has like 3 players at this B bomb site. They're loving these leans. 1 catwalk, 2 actually inside B. Allowed to do it because of a retake setup over towards the A bomb site. Seb playing at ticket booth. Sub Rosa top connector. So staying relatively far back, but this play from Roka, this might just do it. Visa has no idea. When does Roka turn the corner? Here's Visa. He's got to make the decision of when he wants to go. And Stanley spots it out, and there's the peek from Roka. He gets a double as well. That's all the rotations, all the support possible. Stanley never had a bigger job to do, and he's got a double so far. He's not going to be able to do more, but Wardell has arrived. Enough time is bought. And Stanley does just enough to allow Ghost to come out of that tough situation.
Yes, Stanley is sort of wrecking Splyce at this point. They've really struggled getting by him. Him and Wardell both looking good. In these last few rounds, we've seen Stanley spring to life. Now, Drone, that's some nice hops, but can you follow it up with anything of substance? Smoke's gone down over on ramp. He has players there with him. Roka going to make some noise over here at B, but it was just shot with a dig, and then he gets tagged down low. So it's going to be the A play. They've got no utility to actually get them into the site. Although, I was going to say thankfully at least Wardell isn't here, but just as I say it, just as I even fathom that idea, it looks like he's considering rotating in through CT spawn. So this is going to be easy for them, by any stretch of the imagination.
Roka on the hunt with that Deagle. He's got 1 tag. Davey finishes off the kill from Palace. This all of a sudden is a tough situation for Ghost to be in. Swinging out wide, the M4s, they line up for him, but another kill comes in and the op can't handle it. Low HP, Visa arrives just at the right time, and still Wardell trading down into a 2-on-2. The bomb is getting planted, but Wardell is forced passive with only 13 HP. He's got full utility. 2 kits. Semphis and Davey haven't been able to recover any guns, most of them on the staircase towards CT spawn. Semphis is going to get flushed out by the Molotov. Stanley should be able to punish, but he looks away, and Wardell misses the shot. They know where one is, and there goes Semphis. 1-on-2 now. Davey underneath with the deagle. Can't complete the kill. No armor, and the aim punch screws them. Stanley, 2 kills, while his teammate is hemorrhaging. Still more impact from the UK player.
Yeah, no, I mean, for Splyce, their options kind of starting to run out here. It feels like they have been running into a brick wall in these last few rounds. Exotic going to be peeking down at mid, doesn't spot anything. Stanley alone in B, won't see any combat just yet. Ghost, they've stacked 4 players in this A bomb site, and that's actually a perfect read on this play from Splyce, at least what they're setting up for initially. Sabrosa are going to go peeking into lower tunnel, and timing's going to be everything here. Drone and Roka both there at the bottom of connector. They're going to get smoked back, and he now starts to peek over the top. They're going to go through. Sabrosa hasn't spotted this. He hears the footsteps, though, and now he slips the knife in. Him and VSA lock it down. That's the bomb dropped in connector. Pressure applied by Davey, but he can't get any more done, and now it is just Exotic. Okay, no, actually, Davey with a second. Has to try and find a third, which he is going to get, but Stanley's able to finish him off. And on the back of that, now it's 13-13. Ghost, they are pulling this back.
Yeah, and Splyce look lost now. It's been a while since they've been able to really look like they were building any kind of momentum. That time, really early on in the round, 2 players coming through the smoke. Sub-Zero's gonna, or Sub-Rosa. I did it again. I almost said Sub-Zero. Sub-Rosa is gonna love that. Obviously, as they don't clear out the corner, and even if they did, not a guarantee they would have seen him. Ghost in these rounds, I mean, they're very fortunate to be in this situation. They've been bailed out. Obviously, Wardell having a very good game, as our analyst said he would. But you add in Stanley to the mix, who not necessarily putting up as much numbers. Now, to be fair, he didn't come in until about round 6 or 7, but has been having phenomenal impact for them. Great holds on this defensive side. He's the player who got a quad kill to start Ghost out on a 4-round win streak at the end of the first half that gave him the opportunity to come back into this. So, pretty nice game being put together, all things considered.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, Ghost Gaming, this would be their first win, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Splyce, okay, that's a nice opener from Drone. He's been able to shut down Sabrosa. I'm going to get one. Wardell lies in CT, and at this point, it is just like shooting fish in a barrel for him. 3 massive frags. Wardell gets it all done. And that is going to be a 14th promptly arriving for Ghost Gaming. The buy can come in now from Splyce, but to say the pressure's on is an understatement. I mean, this has been a massive comeback from Ghost.
I know Wardell's been one of like the most talked about, I guess, commodities you could say in the North American scene in terms of young players and another young opera that we have playing in the region. And it's cool this season to be able to watch him, as I haven't been able to see him previously. This is my first time doing NA Pro League in quite some time. But you can see something very cool in the way he plays with that AWP. So, nice game he's thrown together here to put Ghost Gaming in the lead down the stretch. We'll have to see how he continues to develop as a player. Smoke out towards window room. Wardell watch is on. He's at the B bomb site with that AWP. And again, retake over towards A. And if there's no presence in these B halls for some time, are we going to see Ghost start to rotate back and cheat over to A early? It's a lot of faith to be able to put into Seb to get maybe just 1 kill as they come in. Because Sub-Rosa playing passive outside of jungle, outside of window room towards CT spawn is not going to be much of an impact. It's all on Seb.
Will we see the rifle round equivalent of a 5-on-5 retake? It looks like we will. Seb's going to go ahead and give up.
No one's moved yet.
CT, and yeah, still no one actually yet to move. They have got a smoke for CT this time around. It's already gone down. 5-on-5 retake with rifles, Jason.
Yeah, you love to see it, I guess. Yeah, this is interesting. Ghost calling the, I guess, thinking maybe it's a bluff, and Splyce saying, no, We're all here. Bomb's gonna go down, and if there's not some kills that come out quickly for Ghost, it almost feels like they'll have to fall back. This is a lot of money they would lose in the process of trying to retake this bomb site. Very risky call to make. Very static call to make. And this shot from Wardell, haven't seen too many of those. Roka's gonna switch to the other side. He's gonna wait for his rifles to come try and clear it, but Exotic is here, and there's Roka pouncing, and now all these guns gonna be taken away from Ghost. They're committed to this. Smoke down on the bomb, and Sub Rosa's the last. Roka with 3 kills, including the big one on Wardell. It's gonna tie things up down the stretch, and yeah, that's a lot of money thrown away from Ghost there. Stanley's got money, but no one else can afford to buy.
And I mean, now it's a really tricky situation. You almost feel like maybe the right call to have made there would have been what you suggested earlier on, what you kind of alluded to, was that, you know, with no kills coming through, a save really felt like it should have been in order, because now they're left in a very awkward situation. Well, you know, they've fought so hard to pull it back to this scoreline, and now the buy here is going to be a bit lackluster for them. You have the AWP on Wardell. But I think I saw a few UMPs of CZ there as well. Yes, that's pretty dire.
Yeah, this is like the whole game on the line here. If they lose this buy, then they're just going to be on pistols for that last round. So Splyce taking a timeout after Ghost took a timeout.
I told you this was the team that did this quite a lot recently.
The 2-time back-to-back.
They just love talking to one another and mulling things over.
I bet they're like telling a joke. I doubt they even say anything that intense during these.
No, yeah, no, I reckon, you know, just kind of let...
A knock-knock joke, probably.
Have they just done another?
Gonna have to have a discussion with them after the game.
I don't know what this is about, Jason. I don't. Maybe they're just letting Ghost really stew in the results of that previous round.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is, Splyce hasn't really put together that great of a T side. It feels. They have got the rounds on the board, which is all that matters at the end of the day. But a lot of these wins towards the end is, I mean, this one especially is going to be taking advantage of a weaker economy for the CT side. So still a big advantage here. And if they, like I said, if they win this one, that's essentially the map. It's all on this round is what I'm trying to say, Harry. Yeah. All the carrots in one basket.
Yes, indeed. All the carrots in one basket, Jason. And you know me, where there's carrots, I'm there. Speaking of that, Wardell could have used some carrots over in mid. Didn't quite spot the players crossing, then goes down, and that's going to be him eliminated early on. The AWP dropped, and that was the one bastion of hope that Ghost Gaming had.
I hate that that was the tactic out of a timeout, was to say, all right, we're going to have the AWP push alone up mid on the CT side.
It wasn't just one timeout either, it was 3.
Yeah, that's their, like, this is the idea.
The piece de resistance of strategy. Luckily enough, Sabrosa,
yeah,
he's been able to pull it back a bit. 4-on-4, he's found an equalizer, and that does extend a bit of hope the way of Ghost. Now there's an AWP and an AK down in mid as well, which the B rotators can hope to retrieve. It's just Splyce about to execute into this A bomb site. The pressure's now on for Seb and Sabrosa.
Poor Seb, man. He's been so abandoned here, all alone. Lurker coming up. Semphis, as soon as the attention is pulled towards A, he's going to pounce. Sabrosa, though, oh, he doesn't clear it. He doesn't clear it whatsoever. What? Semphis doesn't find it, and Seb is just sitting right behind the edge of the smoke, and he's got to be careful of the drop down. Blinded by a teammate's flash, but Davey hasn't been aggressive yet. Finally gets that kill. He's kept honest by the FAMAS. Seb's still alive, and they seem to know it. They seem to realize it's slow to turn the corner, and he's got a double. He's done it. Davey all alone, a 1-on-3. Does take down the first and peeks out more, and can't do it. Somehow, Seb and Ghost have held on to the round.
Yeah, Seb is the stuff of nightmares. And while Splyce enemy devastated, Drone can go ahead and buy here. But that is it. He's the only man with a rifle. Other than that, it's CZ's. Will we see overtime? Will Ghost Gaming close out this map here and now? Splyce must be kicking themselves. They're going to try for the B rush, and there's Stanley and VSA here. Wardell going to already drop Sempus down in mid. Stanley gets forced back, but VSA holds the fort. Takes one down with him. Sabrosa's rotated in here. 2 versus 3. The odds aren't terrible for Splyce to actually make something of this round. Roka's now retrieved himself a Famus. The bomb plant going to come in. So now the pressure is applied to Ghost. They've got plenty of utility to try and make these plays. Roka finds one and a second. Now he's going to go down. Leaves it in the one-on-one. It's Drone versus Wardell. And one of the most talked about AWPers, or young AWPers at least, over in NA right now, it is Wardell. To try and close this out. Rounds the corner, and Wardell's going to do it. 3 massive frags. And that's Ghost Gaming winning out this map. Coming back from an awful deficit at the end of the first half, they managed to lock it down.
Oh, just slaps Drone aside with a no-scope. What a game from Wardell, showing what he's worth, showing the potential, while the conversation around him is warranted. A really strong game. Pretty impressed with Stanley as well. Came in late, but we'll have to see how he does on map 2. Either way, great effort from Splyce to let it slip away in the end. But some big risk from Ghost allow them to take it before going to OT. We're going to head to a break, and when we return, Trace and the boys are going to break it down.
Incendiary out.